What's happening? Our player base, our profits. What's happening? What? Mark! Mark! What are you doing to my cash cow, Mark? Just making a new game. Running a beta, taking feedback to improve on it. What? You're actually listening to them? You can't listen to the feedback. You're supposed to ignore them, Mark. You're supposed to ignore them, you fucking idiot! The XDefiant closed beta has single-handedly got me more excited for a Call of Duty style FPS than Call of Duty itself has since COD Goes, Jesus Christ. For a literal decade now, there has been no game to hit that fast-paced FPS itch like Call of Duty used to for me, from COD 4 all the way to Black Ops 2. The only game that did was Modern Warfare Remastered, a 2007 game. That's depressing. Ever since Black Ops 2, none of them have felt the same. Call it nostalgia, but I don't think it's true because I have zero nostalgia for XDefiant, but in the first few days of playing its beta, I was enjoying myself just like I did back with those old games. XDefiant is exactly what Call of Duty has been missing for a decade now, a casual, fast-paced, and fun FPS just like the old ones, and from the fucking menu you can tell that this was the case because, I mean, look, a conventional UI. And not my Roku television where it looks like I'm browsing for a movie when I'm just trying to invite my friend. Map voting, praise the gods above, we finally have the simplest fucking feature we've had since Modern Warfare 1 that was removed in the Skinwalker version of Modern Warfare 1 because Infinity Ward knew how dogshit their maps were and felt pissy that we were gonna vote to skip fucking all of them aside from the remakes. I missed being able to pick and play what I want instead of just being told what to play. This is how it should be done, but why do the lobbies have to disband? Why? We were on the verge of greatness, we were this close. Getting into the actual game, holy shit, it is so much fun not having to feel like I'm fighting for my life, drips of sweat steaming off my forehead, as if I'm trying to get into Global Elite when I'm just trying to have a good time in a public match on Modern Warfare. It is so much fun just chilling out, sitting back, enjoying myself on this game, shitting on some players, and getting shit on by others. There is no skill-based matchmaking in pubs here, and I fucking love it. I miss this casual gameplay loop so much, just joining a match and playing however I want, not having to calculate whether my next game is gonna be fun or not based on how well I did on my previous 3 matches and what the game has my invisible MMR sent to. Instead of that, every match here is just straight up fun with a very solid gameplay loop reminiscent of the OG CODs, promoting multiple playstyles like actual rushing. Can you believe that? They didn't snip our balls off this time. Actual red dots on the map, remember that? Infinity Ward doesn't. And spawns behaving the exact same way that they used to, spawning you in the back of the map instead of a random corner, and then properly switching the teams when they get pushed. Although I will admit that the spawns can be occasionally shitty at times.
Zone secured.
I actually just spawned into a grenade. Did I just spawn behind someone? Why the fuck did I spawn behind someone? It is a beta though, so nothing that they can't fix in the future, and similarly, there is room for improvement when it comes to the gunplay. For the most part, it's very reminiscent of the old style Call of Duty games, which is what this game is clearly inspired by, and I love them for that if it's not obvious enough. Although in this aspect, the gunplay, I'll admit, it is the one thing that the newer Call of Duty, specifically Modern Warfare 2 and 2019, do easily better than the classics. In the newer Modern Warfares, every gun just has such a powerful feel to it, the way it kicks back, how fucking good and realistic they sound, and having just enough recoil to where you need some attachments, but also where it's controllable enough to not be Rainbow Six Siege or CSGO recoil. But in XDefiant, not only is the sound design kinda ass if I'm being mean, I'm not expecting the sound design of Modern Warfare 2. That game has some of the best sound design of any FPS that I've ever heard, likely because it was a big budget game. Meanwhile, this is a smaller budget game, especially considering that Ubisoft seemingly can't afford any more big budget games. But even with the smaller budget, the sound design isn't all that great, with a lot of guns sounding like pea shooters, and some of them even sounding the exact fucking same.
I'm detecting hostiles on Zone C.
But aside from that, recoil-wise, it's similar to how it was in classic COD. Practically every gun here is a laser beam, and it isn't even like I had attachments specifically for controlling recoil. In fact, it's kind of the opposite. Majority of my attachments was to help with rushing, which is something that this game actually promotes instead of pretending that they promote it before either nerfing all the rusher-friendly abilities or making them the last thing you unlock to cater to your beloved camp, Sentinels. I'm sorry, Infinity Ward, it's been a while. The created class here is simple enough and clearly inspired off the Gunsmith 1.0, thank God. Thank God it's inspired off that and not the garbage dogshit Gunsmith negative 2.0. It behaves basically the exact same as that one. Your gun is called by its proper name, the AK-47, and not the fucking cast-off 7,652,000. Where's the originality? Cast-off sounds so much better. Yeah. And you can mess with the attachments on every part of your gun. The muzzle, barrel, rail, optic that doesn't fucking slow down your ADS in this game. That was
always so stupid, magazine, rear grip, and stock. You can do the same with your pistol, and interestingly enough, pick only one grenade instead of a frag and a tactical. Which is a bit of a weird choice, but not that big of a deal, and they compensated for this by buffing the flash so that it shows you the gates of heaven for a solid 5 seconds. Like I said, nearly identical to the 2019 Gunsmith, which I prefer. Some might have preferred the Pick 10 system, which I can't understand, but honestly, and this might be a bit of a controversial opinion, but I think that the Gunsmith is overall better than the Pick 10 system, and Black Ops 2 was fine, but in later games, I felt like it got a bit overused and a bit cluttered with options, and I like the simplicity of this one a lot more. And not the pointless complexity of the Gunsmith 2.0 system, thank God you don't have to unlock guns that way, and instead it's in a slightly different way by completing challenges, which while I would prefer just straight up leveling, isn't too bad and far better than having to use a gun that you don't want to use for 2 hours, just so you could use another gun that you don't want to use for 2 hours, just so you could use another gun that you don't want to use for 2 hours, just so you could use another gun that you don't want to use for 2 hours, just so you could get the gun that you want. The one complaint that I have with the current class system that I hope is changed in the future is that there's no perks, which is odd. My assumption is that the specialist abilities are there to behave as your perks, but that doesn't really work. Remember World War II's divisions, and when they tried to replace perks, that didn't work, like, at all, and this doesn't work either, so please, I'm being nice because you're making a great game, please add some perks in at launch. Similar to perks though, kill streaks were also removed here, although I am much more understandable with that one, as the specialists are an understandable replacement for them, although it would be nice just to have some. You don't even have to go crazy, you can add the COD 4 system and I'd be satisfied. Although speaking of the specialist characters here, they were the one thing that I was pretty iffy about when I was hearing about this game. And that's mostly because of how they were handled in COD. In Black Ops 4 especially, I despise them. They completely ruined the game for me from how bullshit they were. And with XDefiant, it was initially looking like we were in for a Black Ops 4 Part 2, because in the closed alpha, which I got into a little over a year ago, the specialists completely ruined that game for me, especially the Ghost Recon ones. The entire map was just absolutely bombarded by a bunch of bullshit shields, making the game feel more like Overwatch 1 than anything close to classic CODs. But over a year off from that closed beta and playing the game now, these specialists are nowhere near as annoying back then, and surprisingly enough, I actually really like them. Until I saw this Watch Dogs one, which gave me instant flashbacks to the Seekers. Why would you add this? What the fuck? Help me. No, why? Don't do this to me. With currently 5 factions, each having 2 selectable abilities and an ultimate, although when I say that, I might as well say 1 selectable ability, because they all have 1 good one and one that not a single fucker uses. The first faction is the Cleaners from the Division, who are essentially Firebreak from Black Ops 3 and 4. I mean, look at their fucking ultimate, it's the same thing. They're alright, nothing special though, and their ultimate is definitely the best thing about them, although their passive Incendiary bullets scared the hell out of me at first, giving me flashbacks to the bullshit shotguns from World War II. But in practice, they are nowhere near as annoying, with the fire just doing a little bit of extra damage after the fact, and making it take longer for you to heal. The Phantoms from Ghost Recons are the second class in the game, which is a bit of an ironic name, considering that they're easily the most visible class in the game, with their bright-ass shields. These were the fucking bullshit characters in the alpha, with their shields being spammed everywhere, but they're nowhere near as annoying here, although they can still annoy me sometimes. Oh, you're such a bitch. Wow, that actually just fucking pissed me off. Then there's easily my favorite faction in the game, the Echelon from Splinter Cell, who are so much fun. With their tactical, being able to trick enemies by going invisible, but easily the best part about them is their ultimate, which at first I thought was just a ripoff of Widow's ult. That was until I realized they gave you fucking Sam Fisher's pistol to clean house with, and it's absolutely fucking broken. Holy... No! You
Friendly
died!
for Zone B.
But speaking of broken, the Libertad. Based off this image, who do you think is the most broken class in the game? The Fire one. These are essentially the medics of the game, and that wouldn't be too bad if they didn't give themselves boosted fucking health. When using their tactical, they basically fully heal themselves immediately, and if that was it, that would have been fine, because it basically would have just been a stim shot. But they also give themselves 20 extra health points, and that's when it goes from fine to annoying, because in a Twitch shooter like this game, where reaction time is the difference between winning and losing a fight, someone having even the slightest bit of extra health is a massive advantage. But if you think that's bad, just look at their ult where they get fucking 200 health. This ult is so fucking broken, it's not even funny. Yeah, so this is a beta and you want some feedback? Here's your feedback. Nerf this. Aside from that though, the classes really took me by surprise. I was really expecting to hate them the same way that I did with Black Ops 4, but I ended up really enjoying myself. They work well with the game's mechanics and are a decent way of replacing perks and kill streaks. Still would like those in the game though, and they work even better in specific modes. Currently, there are 5 modes here, which isn't much, but for a beta, it's fine. 2 arena modes, Domination and Occupy, which is Hardpoint. No need to go over those. Those are basic modes. And the 3rd arena mode, which is added later on, is called Hotshot, and is sort of a combination of different modes from other FPSs that are blended together in a really clever way to create a crazy fun new mode. It's a blend of 3 modes. Kill confirmed, with the enemies dropping dog tags every time they die, and you score every time you pick them up. Headhunter from Halo, where you could stack a bunch of dog tags at once, and the real kicker, the thing that makes this game mode great, Cranked, where when you have the most dog tags in the lobby, you become the hotshot, getting increased speed boost, reload speed, and everything like that. It was only available in the beta for about a day, and I only got to play it for around 3 hours, but in that time frame, I had an absolute blast with it, and it was definitely the most fast-paced mode, and found a way to make players actually play the objective in a game like this, while at the same time still letting them hunt for kills and be super aggressive. But outside the arena modes, the other 2 modes are the more objective-based modes, Escort, which is basically payload from Team Fortress or Overwatch, and Zone Control, which weirdly enough kind of reminds me of a 6v6 versions of Operations or Rush from Battlefield. And while COD has tried their hand at objective-based modes like this, specifically with Safeguard in Black Ops 3, it wasn't really that great since they were just using the basic 6v6 maps for the objective-based modes, which didn't really work all that well since those maps weren't built with those specific modes in mind. Meanwhile here, these objective-based modes have specific maps for them. I mean, look at them. I don't think this would work in an arena 6v6 map. I mean, they did try with COD Ghosts, didn't work right there. These maps make these modes a lot more fun than they ever were in COD. Escort in this game is leagues ahead of Safeguard from Black Ops 3, and she'll like the character abilities, especially the Ghost Recon Shield ones, work way better here than they do in the arena modes, and honestly, it makes it kind of feel like a weird hybrid version of COD and Overwatch in a really good way. I was really excited to try these modes out in ranked since that's what they seem to be built for, but as of right now, the ranked in this game, while it does seem to be promising with it being more tactical and a 4v4 instead of a 6v6, is also plagued with people leaving lobbies because there's no punishment for leaving, so 90% of the matches just end up looking like this. So yeah, it's pretty lame right now. I'm looking forward to potentially more objective modes like these, which in a COD style game is something that I never thought I would say, but the maps mixed with the character abilities really make them a lot more fun. Meanwhile, the maps for the 2 arena modes, that's when things get a bit more interesting. Now, I am what's called a hater when it comes to 3-lane maps. I think it's very overdone, especially in this time period of COD games. And for the most part, I feel like they're just very generic and same feeling to one another. A few 3-lane maps mixed with some more experimental maps is my go-to, and I think that's how it should be done. But when the entire fucking lobby is just filled with that shit, I fall asleep. Although XDefiant actually found a way to make all of his 3-lane maps feel unique to one another. There wasn't a single map in this game that I all around hated, or even a map that I consider just decent. I think all the maps here are straight up good, which is a weird feeling. After shit like every 2019 launch map and fucking Tarok and Border Crossing from Modern Warfare 2. Oh, I just realized this fucking having every map be straight up amazing and being able to vote on those maps is such a fantastic change of pace from what I'm used to. The only thing I ask for is for a few more experimental maps that aren't specifically 3 lanes. I know it's risky, but when done right, it can create some of the most memorable maps ever. And maybe some more larger and open sniping maps. We have Mayday, which I fucking love. It is a slightly slower pace, but I like matches having different paces from fast to medium to slow, as I covered in my Modern Warfare 2 review. Having a few more different and unique maps like that to split up from the small and medium fast-paced 3-lane maps would make this even more perfect. This game easily already has better maps than any COD in nearly a decade, and it hasn't even fucking launched yet. In terms of the beta, there are shockingly few issues here, and the issues that the game does have can easily be fixed at launch, like some balancing issues, minor spawn issues, minor desync, and a couple of glitches like ragdolls bugging out after you die, and hopefully adding perks, although I kinda unfortunately doubt that. But even without that, I still had so much fun in a closed beta with only around 12 hours of game time played. I've already enjoyed myself more than I did during my entire full launch Modern Warfare 2 experience, which is crazy. This is coming together to be a very solid game, potentially better than any COD to have released in the past decade, and a game that's not fucking Call of Duty has gotten me more hyped for a Call of Duty than I have been for 10 years now. Alright, so, Infinity Ward. Yeah? This XDefiant thing is looking like potential competition. What should we do? Maybe we can
Maybe we could try actually listening to our audience.
Fuck off.
Ah!